We have the latest for you on this. Also, government says it has detected massive rot at the Electricity Company of Ghana, resulting in a ban on all procurement by the minister. We'll tell you more. Much later on the program, Council of State election rerun for Ashanti region currently underway amid tight security after violence marred earlier polls last week. We're live in Kumasi. Plus, founder and general overseer of Alive Chapel International, Bishop Salifu Amwako, and 2 others rearrested after state withdrawals charges against them. Why? We'll tell you. We begin in the Ashanti region, where the Council of State elections rerun has been moved from the Regional Coordinating Council to the Prempeh Assembly Hall following calls for a change in venue by some of the candidates. As expected, security has been beefed up to prevent any activities that may disrupt the process, as it happened last week. 86 delegates are expected to vote to elect the regional representative on the council. Ibrahim Abubakar is a man who's leading this charge. He joins us live on the line. Ibrahim, just take us through the security situation at the voting area.
Well, Beatrice, before you are able to even come close to the Prempeh Assembly Hall, you have to pass through 4 barricaded security posts before you will be able to enter. Now, when you even want to enter the premise of the Prempeh Assembly Hall, there is another barricade. Before then, you are even allowed to enter inside the perimeter where the voting is ongoing. Now, what the police have done is that, with the exception of accredited persons, which include the media, the EC officials, police personnel, delegates, and candidates, they are not allowing anyone entry into the even premises of the Prempeh Assembly Hall. Now, the former Minister of Education, Dr. Yawedu stood there for 30 minutes wanting to have access. The police denied him. They say he has no accreditation. They will not allow him entry. Kennedy Japan also came there for minutes. He stood there and the police said no, they will not, because they have taken this precautionary measure to prevent any other person from having access to the Prempeh Assembly Hall. They don't want a situation where they allow Kennedy Japan or the former education minister. Then we have other people also coming without accreditation and would want to enter. So that has been the situation. But as I speak to you now, the atmosphere is very, very charged. We are expecting 86 people to come and vote. So far, 27 of them have voted, remaining 39. Just some few minutes ago, all the 39 came in a bus and together with their supporters, and they want access inside. And the police is saying no, they will not allow anyone access, with the exception of the delegates who are eligible to vote. So even the main entrance has been closed. A bit of chaotic scene. One person has been arrested who was attempting to enter forcefully. He has been arrested by the anti-robbery squad. So the police is very, very well prepared. More than 100 of them fully armed, battle ready to make sure that they prevent anything from disrupting the process.
Ibrahim, we're also learning that some of the candidates have stepped down. Any confirmation on this? And perhaps, just basically that.
Well, so as I speak to you, 4 of the candidates have stepped down to give their support to other candidates. We have Rose Hamilton, we have Nana Kusiampo, who is the Amachi Barukuma, and we have Nana Foru Ajwa. Then the last person is Alexander Inti. Alexander Inti decided to step down based on advice from his lawyers, because they took the matter to court on Friday, secured a court injunction wanting to halt the process. But unfortunately, the EC said it was not safe, and for that matter, it is still going on with the voting as planned. But the EC is also saying that even though these people have stepped down, they have not officially communicated anything to them. So as it stands, if anyone votes for any of them, then the vote may be valid, because they do not have any official document to show that these 4 individuals have stepped down.
I know you talked about the atmosphere being tensed, but are you able to tell us how the process has been so far in the midst of tight security?
Well, for the voting process, it has been very, very peaceful because of where it is being held is an enclosed area. So like I said, before you even have access to enter within the premises of Prempeh Assembly, you must be an accredited person. So for the voting process, it's been generally smooth. But you come outside, very, very tense. A lot of supporters have marched up at the gate. In fact, most of them wanted to enter, but the police are saying no, they will not allow them. So they are outside, some of them chanting, making noise. We are just hoping that since the remaining 39 have come, maybe within the next 30 minutes, we should be able to wrap up and maybe eventual counting and declaration will be done.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim Abubakar. He's Ashanti Region correspondent. Meanwhile, Saska Abuba has emerged as the winner of the Northeast Region Council of State election. The polls had to be organized for after the initial election ended in a tie. Alhaji Abuba secured a total of 7 votes, surpassing his closest competitor, Asabigi San Malunga, who received 5 votes. Northeast Deputy Director of the Electoral Commission, Yao Poku, spoke to the press after the polls.
11 February 2025 was set for the conduct of regional representatives to the Council of State nationwide. Unfortunately for Northeast, we couldn't determine the winner. There was a tie. 2 candidates had the same vote, and therefore there was a need to break the tie. Commission subsequently fixed today, 17th February 2025, for the purpose of breaking the tie. The election started 7 a.m. as stipulated by law, and at the end of the elections, we were able to break the tie. So the candidate in respect of Saka Abuba had 7 votes, and then Asabigi San Malunga Nasamu had 5 votes. To that effect, Saka Abuba was declared the winner.
And you had the Northeast Deputy Director of the Electoral Commission, Yao Poku, declaring who won the Council of State representative election in that part of the country. Now, 2 more lives have been lost to the meningitis outbreak in the Upper West region, increasing the total of deaths to 16. Since the disease outbreak in the region, there have been 129 suspected cases with 22 confirmed. Currently, 29 persons are on admission, with 3 of them in critical condition. Ibrahim Wangara is a man in the Upper West region. He joins us live on the line. Ibrahim, if you can hear us, it's almost 3 weeks since this seasonal disease outbreak started in the region. Can you tell us what's been happening? Healthcare workers must be overwhelmed, I assume.
Yes, the past 3 weeks have been extremely challenging for the region, since meningitis raised its ugly head in this part of the area. Health workers have indeed been overwhelmed, working tirelessly to manage the influx of patients. But despite their best efforts, the number of cases continues to surge. And unfortunately, we have seen fatalities due to late reporting and treatment, according to health authorities, because they say most of the 16 deaths recorded in the area are as a result of them reporting to various health facilities at late hours.
Aside from this, Wangara, how are residents responding to the interventions to curtail the spread and possibly deaths?
The residents have been generally receptive to the interventions, with many expressing gratitude for the efforts to control the outbreak. However, there's still a need for increased awareness and education, particularly in rural areas where access to healthcare is limited, and most of these residents will have to trek long distances to seek health care. So people think that though health authorities are putting out or assisting to curb the situation, much is still needed from them.
And what exactly are the authorities doing within the communities in terms of sensitization beyond what you said again?
Well, authorities, in collaboration with healthcare workers, are conducting extensive sensitization campaigns within the communities. And these efforts include radio discussions, school visits, among others. And recently, what they intend doing now is to record jingles in local dialects so that the various local radio stations based in the region could often play these jingles just to keep informing residents about the do's and don'ts or what they should expect from someone who is having symptoms of meningitis in this part of the region.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Wangara. He's our Upper West Regional Correspondent. We can now hear the Regional Health Director, Dr. Damien Punguire, who's been speaking about what's happening up there.
Reported more cases, but we did not report any further death until 2 days ago. But what happened 2 days ago was that we had a young person who reported at the health facility with symptoms of malaria, truly diagnosed as a case of malaria, and has been put on treatment just like done for malaria cases. 2 days later, they are rushed back to the hospital in an unconscious state. Much as we did, the health workers did their best to revive the person, lost a life within 2 hours on admission. The other one was found in a room unconscious by relatives and brought to one of the health facilities. Treatment began, and unfortunately, we lost the person.
And you had the Upper West Regional Health Director, Dr. Damien Punguire, speaking to journalists earlier, some 14 minutes past the hour of 12, right here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. When we come back, we'll talk energy and Salifu Amwakon wife and maid rearrested over what? We'll tell you details.
Whether it's Bimbilla, Winchi, Akachi, Accra, or Takrady, as long as it's on Ghana's map, we're there. With our network of healthcare service providers across the entire country, wherever you find yourself in Ghana, Nationwide Medical Insurance has got you covered. We are nationwide, literally.
Your health is worth protecting.
Call us on 0800 222222 or visit www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
Now, Ghana's power sector has in the last few months experienced various challenges, threats by independent power producers to shut down over debt inefficiencies in collection and calls for increased tariffs. Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, has been speaking to us on what his initial assessment of the sector has been. We'll bring you an excerpt of that interview. First, let's bring you that bit about massive rot uncovered at the Electricity Company of Ghana.
They have about 3,000 containers stuck at the port, generating demurrage of about 1.5 billion. That is unacceptable. Some of the things they've procured will last them 10 years. Some would even expire in 5 years. And so we've commissioned a committee to investigate ECG's procurement and the cause of these containers stuck at the port. And the committee is doing a very good job. So far, the preliminary report I've gotten indicates that there's massive rot at ECG. They do not follow procurement guidelines. They do not follow procurement processes. They do not conduct a needs analysis, and they just engage in brazen procurement. And so we're waiting for that report. But beyond that, there will be another technical report. What the PwC has done is a financial audit We want to do a human audit, human resource audit, and a deeper audit of all the energy sector. So.
Well, he also talked about a ban placed on ECG procurement until further notice.
There's a rush to engage in procurement. And so I've put a hold on all procurements now. And I've asked them that if they want to do essential procurement, they should write to the ministry until the board is reconstituted. And when the board is reconstituted, we shall provide them with policy guidelines on procurement so that we ensure that they follow strict adherence. Because I asked myself, if this company were yours or it was yours, would you engage in this level of procurement? You go to their warehouse, a lot of the equipment are at the mercy of the weather. I just checked from the port, and the security report I'm getting is that a container that costs about $500,000 is imported. ECG is unable to clear that container. Some way, somehow, somebody is able to buy that container at auction for 100,000 cedis, bring it into the open market, and resell it to ECG as $300,000. It will stop. And I mean, it will stop.
Well, on tariffs, the minister said that the government is under pressure to increase tariffs. Listen to exactly what he said.
IMF and the World Bank project that we should be increasing tariffs by about 58%. I mean, how you're going to increase tariffs by 58% is another major thing. And inefficiencies at ECG. The collection, the losses, and all those issues ought to be addressed.
Are you currently facing that pressure to increase electricity tariff?
When they did the analysis, it showed that there was a huge differential.
Okay.
One, we don't pay for what you would call capacity charges or redundancy. It's not part of the tariff. And so right from day one, the state has to shoulder that bill. But even what we consume is woefully inadequate when you look at the billing or the approved tariff as against the cost of electricity.
And you heard the Energy Minister, John Jinaport there. We're joined by Derek Hatcher. He's a lead policy analyst at the Institute for Energy Security. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thanks for the opportunity.
Do these revelations come to you as a surprise?
Basically, not surprised about it because we've seen previous reports from that of PURC highlighting the inefficiencies with ECG and then the kind of mismanagement that are going on. And so basically this is just one of those revelations. But on top of it, this one is skyrocketing. This one is more exposed. Like the expose is too big because it's like a syndicated crime. It's like a group of people who have organized and then decided to dupe the country of this amount of money. And so this is an organized thing. This is something that has taken enough financial liquidity from ECG and must be investigated appropriately.
Having made that point, it appears that the new management of the Electricity Company of Ghana will have to deal with a lot of challenges beyond what they've already known.
Exactly, because the issues with ECG, both financial, both technical, both capacity building issues are things that got to do with. But as I've always been saying, it got to do with leadership because we've got leaders who do not want to take actions and who do not want to be responsible. And so this is more or less like a board which wants to act and be more responsible and then be truthful to Ghanaians, and the authority that they've given to them, they are willing to exhibit it and then bring the best for Ghanaians to enjoy. And so definitely this is a leadership that is more concerned about being truthful to Ghanaians, be more take away the political interferences because they want to just do what is right for Ghanaians to be happy with.
And I'm sure you had heard that even beyond or before these revelations, there had been that conversation about the need to privatize the Electricity Company of Ghana. Is it time to do that, and how viable will it be?
Right, so privatization is not something that can be taken out, but what needs to be done is a broader stakeholder engagement. We don't want to have a repetition of the issues with PDS. Now there needs to be an open and transparent process. Let those who have the capacity come on board. Let them bring what needs to be brought on board. Not like how we had insurance guarantees changing to other things. No, let them show that they can exhibit both financial, technical competency, and let them bring the assets. Let them show that managerial skills that they'll be able to turn the fortunes of ECG. Other than that, we'll continue to see the political interferences. And so if there's a private participation, then it means that political interferences can be reduced a little, and people will be more responsible as to why they've been put at the helm of affairs.
Derek Archer, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you, sir.
And you had Derek Archer. He is lead policy analyst at the Institute for Energy Security. Now, President John Mahama has ruled out any plans that his administration is considering an extension of Ghana's current $3 billion extended credit facility with the International Monetary Fund. Officials of the IMF last week met the new finance minister as discussions have commenced on ensuring compliance with the IMF agreement. Speaking in an interview with Bloomberg on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference, President Mahama said that while future extensions remain an option, the government is presently committed to adhering to the existing $3 billion program.
Happily, we have just had a staff visit, and so our Ministry of Finance is engaging with the IMF. There were few issues. We were not at the table when this agreement was drawn up, and so coming into government, there are a few issues that we thought we should raise with the IMF, including the issue of tax rationalization, because of the target of achieving 24% revenue to GDP by 2028. The program required that revenue should continue increasing at a certain rate. Unfortunately, what the previous government had done was just to slap on more taxes, and we had gotten to a stage where the more taxes that were put on, the less revenue that came in. And so it's necessary for us to look at the whole tax handle, rationalize them, make them more transparent, easy to understand, so that we can have better compliance. We've had that discussion with the IMF, and the IMF have agreed to provide technical assistance for us to do that rationalization. We've not talked about an extension of the program. We are determined to continue with this program. I think that it means that we must be more prudent in our handling of our finances. We must also look on the expenditure side and see how we can cut waste and also shift resources to more priority programs. And so it's a whole basket that we're looking at. We also have the issue of the debt restructuring and the humps that have been created. This year, we have to pay in excess of 15 billion on the domestic debt exchange. So what we've done is to reactivate the sinking fund and put more resources into it to take care of the repayments that have to be made this year. But all in all, we have a cordial relation with the IMF. The next review, which will be the fourth review, is due in April. But before that, we'll present the budget in March. And so the budget will take into focus some of the issues that have come out from the staff mission. We're hoping to receive the aid memoir today or tomorrow. And looking at the issues that IMF raises, we'll incorporate them in the budget.
And you had President John Mahama, 25 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll tell you why Salifu Amoako, his wife, and one other have been arrested. Stay with us.
Whether it's Bimbilla, Winchi, Akachi, Accra, or Takrady, as long as it's on Ghana's map, we're there. With our network of healthcare service providers across the entire country, wherever you find yourself in Ghana, Nationwide Medical Insurance has got you covered. We are nationwide, literally.
Your health is worth protecting.
Call us on 0800 222222 or visit www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
Now, Founder and General Overseer of Alive Chapel International Bishop Salifu Amoako has been rearrested shortly after prosecutors withdrew the case filed against him regarding his son's accident, which resulted in death. Let's get details from our court affairs correspondent, Lord Edwasari, who joins us live on the phone. Lord, can you tell us really what informed this latest decision?
Right, so Beatrice, in court today, prosecution from the Attorney General's office indicated that they had been advised by the Attorney General to, as it were, drop the charges and leave the police to investigate further on the case against Professor Salifu Amoako, his wife, and then the domestic aid. when he said this, the defense lawyers noted that they were actually hoping that an early prosecutor or the entire case would be discontinued, but they would take this nonetheless. After this, the judge hearing the matter, Justice Beatrice Adu, indicated that once the Attorney General's office themselves have decided to drop the charges, he will have to withdraw it as being struck out. When the hearing was over, however, and Professor Lukwamakun exited the court, while consulting with his lawyers, we noticed that he was being escorted, or he was escorted to a waiting police vehicle. Now, upon further consultation, we got to know that it's not as if he's being let off the hook, but from what the lawyer said in court, is a case that he has to drop the initial charges, which was the granting an unlicensed person to drive charge against him. As far as he and then the two others were concerned, that charge had been withdrawn, but then the police is further investigating the matter, and then they will most likely proffer new charges against him. And so that was why he was escorted to the police vehicle, and then he was taken away. And we understand he's going to the police, where they will continue to investigate the matter. Beatrice.
So is the police going to hold him together with the two others in custody today?
That is what we believe is going to happen, because once that is done, the next step will be for them to grant him a police bill, police inquiry bill, to help with the investigations.
Was there any immediate reaction to this latest move, as it were, on his case from him or any of the family members?
Not at all. It's not something that they never want to speak to us. They or their lawyers, they don't speak to us. So what we normally would do is that we'll film it, and then even when we try to approach or speak to them, they do not comment on any of what is happening. Beatrice.
What else should we expect in terms of when the next hearing could be?
It's hard to tell at this point, because the prosecution is still, now they've handed it over to the police, so the police is essentially solely doing the investigations, and so as and when they have new charges, they will communicate it, and then we'll be back in court. So we do not know exactly when. That solely depends on the police and how far they go with their investigation.
Thank you very much, Lord Adu Asare. Lord Adu Asare is our court affairs correspondent. And that's it for the news here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Coming up shortly is Business Daily with Menuafo. Don't go away.
Follow us on social media, Twitter at 3FM927, Facebook at 3FM927, and also on 3news.com.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Minu Afol. This afternoon, Mahama rules out immediate extension of IMF Extended Credit Facility Program as he commits to prioritizing fiscal stability.
We've not talked about an extension of the program. We are determined to continue with this program.
Also, financial economist Dr. Eric Boachi Adu challenges President Mahama's tax revenue claims, citing an increase of more than 100% in Ghana's nominal tax revenue in the last 3 years.
From 2022, 2023 to 2024, tax revenue has grown in nominal terms in the region of 103%.
Plus, newly appointed Chief Executive of Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Abigail Elon Mensah, set up task force to recover all debts owed the center.
We'll make sure we get back our loans. From the reports I've received and briefings I've received so far, Maslow's recovery is around 51%.
We have details of these stories and more lined up for you. Please stay. Let's get straight into the details now. And President John Dramani Mahama has made it clear that his administration has no immediate plans to extend Ghana's current $3 billion extended credit facility with the International Monetary Fund. This comes after officials from the IMF met with the new finance minister to discuss compliance with existing agreements. In an interview with Bloomberg, President Mahama emphasized that while future extensions are possible, the government is committed to adhering to the existing program.
We've not talked about an extension of the program. We are determined to continue with this program. I think that it means that we must be more prudent in our handling of our finances. We must also look on the expenditure side and see how we can cut waste and also shift resources to more priority programs. And so it's a whole basket that we're looking at. We also have the issue of the debt restructuring and the humps that have been created. This year, we have to pay in excess of 15 billion on the domestic debt exchange. So what we've done is to reactivate the sinking fund and put more resources into it to take care of the repayments that have to be made this year.
The president also reiterated the need to rationalize some taxes introduced by the previous NPP government, citing their counterproductive effects. These taxes were initially implemented to meet IMF's conditions of achieving a tax-to-GDP ratio of 24% by 2028. However, instead of generating revenue, they've led to diminishing returns, with increased tax burdens resulting in lower revenue collection.
We were not at the table when this agreement was drawn up. And so coming into government, there are a few issues that we thought we should raise with the IMF, including the issue of tax rationalization. Because of the target of achieving 24% revenue to GDP by 2028, the program required that revenue should continue increasing at a certain rate. Unfortunately, what the previous government had done was just to slap on more taxes. And we had gotten to a stage where the more taxes that were put on, the less revenue that came in. And so it's necessary for us to look at the whole tax handle, rationalize them, make them more transparent, easy to understand, so that we can have better compliance. We've had that discussion with the IMF, and the IMF have agreed to provide technical assistance for us to do that rationalization.
Well, you heard President John Dramani Mahama speaking on Ghana's IMF program. Away from that, a financial economist at the University of Professional Studies Accra, Dr. Eric Boachi Adu, has disputed the president's assertion that taxes introduced by the previous government have failed to generate sufficient revenue. According to him, data from the Ghana Revenue Authority reveals a significant increase in tax revenue, with nominal terms growth exceeding over 100% over the last 3 years, contradicting the president's claims.
Since the introduction of the IMF ECF with Ghana, revenue mobilization has steadily pointed upwards. For example, In 2019, the nominal tax revenue was around 43.9 billion. In 2020, it was 45.4 billion. In 2021, it came to 47.
UPSA Dr. Eric Adu there. In more news this afternoon, the newly appointed Chief Executive of Microfinance and Small Loans Center, Abigail Mensah, has pledged her outfit's commitment to recovering all debts owed the center. In an interview after the official handing over ceremony held at the head office, the former CEO, the new CEO said, the recovery is necessary to ensure funds are available for deserving applicants and SMEs.
We'll make sure we get back our loans. We'll also make sure that those that need facilities to also help their businesses, they would also be able to get it to build their businesses. From the reports I've received and briefings I've received so far, Maslok's recovery is around 51%. I must say it's not too bad, but it's also not too good. Because if you give up a facility and you are able to receive just half of it, then it means it's not a good venture. So there's a lot of work to be done. And the assurance I'm giving Ghanaians is that we are going to work hard and we are going to make sure that we improve on it and ensure whatever vision His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has is achieved.
Abigail Mensah is Chief Executive of Microfinance and Small Loans Center, Maslok. Now, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority is urging women-led small and medium enterprises to capitalize on the authority's resources to expand their businesses and promote intra-African trade throughout the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. According to Director of Projects at GEPA, Alexander Dajwana, this call to action is particularly relevant as the authority hosts Gambian women business leaders on a week-long study tour. The tour aims to facilitate trade discussions and knowledge sharing within the AFCFTA framework as part of a peer-to-peer engagements initiative.
Just to encourage women businesses to innovate and to do more to be able to access international markets. And we are glad that very many younger women are now going into businesses, which is very good because our populations are dominated by women. And the more the women take center stage, the more development will come to Africa. We need to boost our intra-African trade because currently it stays at just about 15% of our global trade within Africa. The rest of it is with Europe and the US and all that, which is not very good. And that's the reason why the AFCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade area, has been created so that it can boost trade within Africa. And so our expectation is that to the medium and long term, more businesses in West Africa particularly will grow. And then we can do collaboration, joint programs so that we can access the global markets.
Director of Projects at Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Alexander Dajawathe. Well, that will be all for Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com. My name is Minu. Full stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next with Black Rasta.